Hey guys, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and today I actually wanted to talk about some of the best tactical shooters out there for the console players. And yes, the list is pretty short, and that was one of the problems with this video. There simply isn't many tactical shooters for the consoles out there. Which kinda makes sense since it's pretty hard to play a game like Arma on a controller, there simply aren't enough key bindings for that. And if you play DayZ on console, then I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So the ones who do exist are much simpler in comparison. With that said though, there are some games you can play on consoles to crave that tactical experience. But they are much simpler and usually done by AAA companies with everything that brings. And some of them aren't even full-on tactical shooters, but there is something you can makeshift and turn into a different game. Before we get on with the list though, I do want to give some honorable mentions. Games like Insurgency Sandstorm, Hell Let Loose and 6 Days in Fallujah are supposed to be coming out for the new consoles, but they aren't available as of now, so they won't make the cut. But it's a good thing to see. With the times progressing, you see more and more PC titles making their way onto consoles, and as a console player myself, this is a breath of fresh air. The truth is that not every console player likes to play Call of Duty. A lot of us simply can't afford gaming computers, so being able to crave the tactical experience on console is definitely a step on the right direction. Right then, at number 5 is going to be a hit and miss for a lot of people, and you might not even agree with me here, but I do think that DayZ can become a pretty good tactical shooter. And yes, even though DayZ is a zombie survival game, and you might not even consider it a tactical shooter, which I would agree to a certain extent, but DayZ is definitely much more tactical than Call of Duty and Battlefield 5 combined. There is a reason why it's based off Arma. The gunshots are amazing. When you hear a weapon getting shot in the distance, it just seems so real, like you actually get scared. So much better than any other games out there. The weapons damages are real. You get shot in the head, you're dead. If you get shot in the torso, you're pretty much dead as well. You can black out from wounds, you need to bandage yourself, and also all the depth within the medical system that it brings. Like losing blood and making blood transfusions or taking pills from blood poisoning. The weapon customization is also pretty good, and if you don't like the survival parts, you can simply play in servers that are PvP only, in which you pretty much spawn with all the gear you could want, which is usually what I do. There are night vision devices that actually work at night and make meaningful changes. There are tons of different plate carriers and pouches that you have to equip on those plate carriers that will give you more space for more ammo or frag grenades, flashbangs, mines, etc. Different backpacks, all different amounts of space and weight, and there are different helmets, some with NVG mounts, others without them, multiple camos types as well. And if you're playing this with mods, then it's just something else entirely. If you squad up with your friends, then this just gets a little bit better, for which there are no shortages of Discord servers looking for people neither. And these are just some of the reasons why I think that DayZ can be considered a makeshift tactical shooter, especially if you pair yourself with a sniper buddy on a ghillie and just wreck people with a 50 cal, which again, it's not hard to do or to get a hold of on those PvP servers. So it can definitely be very fun sometimes. At number 4, and this list doesn't have a particular rating by the way, so number 4 doesn't mean it's necessarily better than number 5, but next up we do have Rainbow Six Siege. Whether you like it or not, that's kinda up to you, but for me personally, I don't like Siege. I think it's a little bit too sweaty for myself, but Siege is still one of the best tactical shooters out there for the consoles. Teamwork is not only key, but the base of the game, and you can do some really good stuff like rappelling from windows to blowing up doors. I mean, there are multiple gadgets and depth into the different operators. Personally, I don't really like the route that Siege is taking. I guess I just really loved Rainbow Six Vegas back in the day, and Siege is, well, very different. But hey, if you like first-person shooters that have a little bit more thinking about your actions, or just heavy on teamwork, then Siege is definitely the one for you. Right then, at number 3 we have a free-to-play game called Enlisted. Enlisted is a really cool World War II shooter, and the way it differentiates itself from other games out there is the squad-based system. In here you actually control a squad and you can freely switch between its members. Within the squad you can add snipers, assault troopers, heavy weapon specialists, and the way you can switch between them on the fly really differentiates Enlisted from any other games out there. Plus it's free and pretty realistic. The guns sound good, there aren't any prototypes neither or red dots like in Battlefield 5. You won't see any pink cosmetics neither, everything is much more down to earth in Enlisted. And the gameplay is pretty fun and easy to get into, from invading Omaha Beach Siege in D-Day to fighting in the streets of Berlin, Enlisted has 3 different campaigns with another one in the works. The game is a bit buggy at the time, but it's slight years ahead for when it came out months ago, so it can only get better. It is however only available for the new gen consoles. At number 2 we have a game I'm very familiar with, and that has to be Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And yes, Breakpoint can be a tactical shooter. Breakpoint's campaign gave a huge emphasis on drones and behemoths and robots, which nobody really liked. Personally, I hate those, and the plot never did it many favors neither. Believe me, I know, I've got 1000 hours in Breakpoint and I haven't finished the campaign yet. But where Breakpoint really shines is in the amount of things you can change to better improve your experience and roleplay whatever you might want to. If you tone down the HUD and up the difficulty, all of a sudden you have a third-person shooter that gets you killed with a single sniper shot, which is a huge difference between what everyone else was playing when they said the game sucked. Which at the time I could agree it definitely sucked, but ever since immersive mode came out there is now no gear score for weapons or gear, so every weapon actually has a specific role now that is not being held up by a leveling system, and there is a ton of stuff you can do here. It can really become a little bit of a Harma for the console players. You can still only play with 3 other people at the same time though, but from parachuting into a base to deploying from the water with wetsuits, all the way to use infantry fighting vehicles and jeeps and MVs, Breakpoint really shines in the roleplaying. There is also a ton of different cosmetics now, though some are locked behind paywalls, but you can actually use a full ghillie suit now, which is nice, and just snipe people from afar. Now this is a Ubisoft game still, which kinda means it's a base takeover simulator, but there are hundreds of different bases with countless ways of doing it, which is a big reason why I've put so many hours into the game, because there's always something else you can do. There have been also many of quality of life improvements like the addition of AI teammates, which you can now fully customize and even decide how many you want to bring with you. The game still puts a big emphasis on stealth though, and the loud firefights still leave a little bit to desire, but it is definitely in a much better state than it was when it first came out. Right then, at number 1, and even though this list wasn't rated, this one is actually my favorite. And unlike Breakpoint, you don't need to roleplay your missions because the campaign on itself is pretty awesome. And that game is Ghost Recon Wildlands. Now the movement system didn't age very well, I do have to say that, but it makes up for it in the amazing setting and campaign that it provides. Bolivia is a fun, action-packed setting, and if there's one game I would love to see remastered, it has to be this one. There is also some game modes like the Ghost mode that pretty much gives you permadeath once you die, and you lose your entire campaign progress, so it really forces you to take your time and recon the place before moving in. Again, just like Breakpoint, it still puts a huge emphasis on stealth, because if you get caught here by UNIDAD for example, which is the Bolivian armed forces, what you can expect is endless waves of attackers until they either lose your trail or just kill you. So it does a really good job on raising the stakes. But yeah guys, these are my favorite tactical shooters for the consoles at the time this video was made, but I'm pretty sure this list is going to change up almost entirely once those games I talked about finally release. If you happen to know any more shooters that put a big emphasis on the tactical parts, definitely let me know, cause I do need something else to play until Battlefield 2042 comes out. But this is going to be it for today guys, until the next time have a good one, and I'll see you guys on the next one. CUSTERPLAYS signing out.